Welcome back, everybody. You're going to want to watch this video, okay? It's going to discuss the marijuana possession laws in the DMV. That's the District, Maryland, and Virginia. So stay tuned. Marijuana laws are changing all over the United States. So you all should really be brought up to speed on what they are in this area. So is recreational use allowed in DC? The answer to that question is yes, but there are certain, rules that go with that, all right? You have to be 21 years or older. If you are, this is what you can do. You can possess up to 2 ounces of marijuana, all right? You can gift up to 1 ounce of marijuana, all right? You can possess paraphernalia, and I'm gonna explain to you what that is. That means bongs, rolling papers, other pipes, probably in DC, it's going to, the blunt papers or even the blunts that haven't been opened yet, those are all considered paraphernalia. Little baggies, all that's considered paraphernalia, all right? Now, you can have that as long as it can only be used for up to 1 ounce of marijuana, all right? And you have to use it on private property. So if you're 21 years or older, those apply to you. All right, you can't use it. You can't smoke and drive. It's just like alcohol. You can get charged with DUI. All right, driving under the influence. It just doesn't mean alcohol. Under the influence can mean drugs as well, and that's past marijuana. Cocaine and any other legal and illegal drugs. Okay, you can get charged with DUI. So you want to keep that in mind. Now, there's some questions as to what private property is. You have to be careful in DC because under federal law, marijuana possession is still illegal. And there's a lot of federal property in DC. So there's a chance that if you're on any federal property and you have marijuana, you can be charged under federal law and go to federal court for marijuana possession. In addition, there's a lot of college campuses in DC. And even though the possession of marijuana under certain terms is legal in DC, these college campuses, they set their own rules. So while it may be legal to possess it up to a certain amount in DC, the college campuses say, no, you can't possess it, and it doesn't qualify as private property to smoke it. So you can get in trouble, while you may not get in trouble legally, from a policy standpoint, you have to check what college you're going to. Georgetown, George Washington, Howard, American, all these campuses could have different rules. So you could face some discipline at your school, even though you won't face legal discipline. Now, if you're under 21 and you have more than 2 ounces of marijuana, you could be arrested, all right? Really depends on what the officer feels like, but you could be arrested. Now, if you have less than 2 ounces, they're probably going to seize the marijuana from you and let you go. What you cannot do in DC under any circumstance is sell the marijuana. Now, I know there's a lot of pop-ups that will offer you to sell you a legal gift, a little trinket for a certain amount of money and gift the marijuana. You can do that, but you just can't sell it hand to hand. Now, let's go to Maryland, right next door, okay? You can possess an amount less than 10 grams and you'll be fined $100. But then if you have subsequent offenses of that nature, the second offense is $250 and the third offense is $500. Now, if you're busted with anywhere between 10 grams and an amount less than 50 pounds, you're looking at a misdemeanor and you could face a penalty up to 1 year in jail. And in Maryland, believe it or not, you can have 50 pounds or more, and it's a felony. It's only 5 years. I mean, that's not a lot of time technically, but that's a lot of weed. But you'll only be facing 5 years. Still got to be careful. But in Maryland, this is where it gets tricky, all right? I'm talking about possession laws here. Now, when you mix in the distribution laws in Maryland, it can make for a hard time for you. For example, you can have that less than 50 pounds of marijuana, but it's qualified as distribution, and you're looking at a felony 5 years with a $15,000 fine, okay? 50 pounds or more under the distribution statute, 5 years, $50,000 fine, all right? But there's a process in Maryland that if they qualify you as a drug kingpin, meaning you have past history of drug offenses and probably distribution offenses to be specific, more than 50 pounds, felony, you're looking at 20 to 40 years. All right? 20 to 40 years and $1 million fine. So possession, when distribution is added to possession in Maryland, I mean, it can get real sticky for you. So you got to be careful. People in the DMV, especially the people in DC, y'all know this is true. Y'all like to make fun of people in Virginia. All right? Say that it's, anyway, I'm not going to go into that. But listen, Virginia is becoming one of the most progressive places in the DMV. Look at their marijuana laws. In the Commonwealth of Virginia, beginning July 1st of this year, 2021, you can legally possess up to 1 ounce of marijuana. Nothing's going to happen to you. Of course, you have to be 21 or older. Now, if you are caught with more than 1 ounce, but less than a pound, you're only going to face a $25 fine. That's for Virginia, how it used to be to now. I mean, that's incredible. The way that they're changing the marijuana laws. I mean, it's really something that DC and Maryland need to get on board with. I mean, it's something to admire, to be honest with you. Now, if you're caught with more than a pound, though, all right, they don't play around. All right, more than a pound of marijuana in Virginia, you're facing a felony up to 10 years. So you really have to be careful with that. Let me get into the particulars of this law. Now, one thing that you cannot do is clearly you can't sell marijuana in Virginia right now. But that's about to change. It's scheduled right now for July 2024. They're going to allow recreational use stores. You can be licensed for that. Okay, there's going to be an application process. And the preferred people for that are going to actually be minority people. All right. And I'm going to explain to you why, because some white people, they get mad. They're wondering why minorities are going to get preferential treatment. I'm going to explain to you why. Currently, minorities are arrested 3.5 more times than white people are for marijuana charges. Even though the statistics show that the usage between the two groups, the minorities and the white people, are the same. So why do minorities get charged more? I mean, clearly there's a racial part of that going on. So what Virginia has decided to do is give the minorities that have suffered from this the first dibs at getting licensed to legally sell it. So if you have, and the qualifications are going to be this, listen, if you have a criminal record for marijuana possession, you're going to be one of the first in lines, okay? Because you've been harmed by this. Listen, there's people in jail right now for marijuana charges that they've lost their job. They've been deported from the United States. I mean, the laws have been harsh, all right? And Virginia is trying to fix that, all right? So if you attend or graduated from an HBCU, you're going to be preferred to get a license to legally sell marijuana. The problem is this. This doesn't go in effect until 2024. Now, these new possession laws were initially not supposed to go into effect until 2024 also. But there was a lot of pushback, and they actually just moved it up from 2024 to this year as far as possession. So now that you can legally possess it in Virginia, the problem is, okay, if I can legally possess it, where do I purchase it from? Because hasn't been legalized for sale until 3 years later. All right. So I expect that Virginia is going to move the licensing of the retail stores for marijuana. They're going to have to move it up, because you can't have a law that allows you to possess and use marijuana, but you don't have nowhere to buy from. So you're going to have to go to the underground market, the corner store, DC or Maryland, and buy it pretty much illegally when it's legal to use. So they're going to have to fix that, and I think they will. So again, preferential treatment for minorities, people that attend HBCUs, because that community, the minority community, which includes you and I, have been harmed by these harsh laws, and not just by the harsh laws, but by the the ratio of arrests for this stuff. So that's what Virginia is doing now. Now, if you go to DC, what DC law allows is this. You could sell, like I could say, hey, listen, buy this coffee cup for $50 and here's a KD for you, a 3.5 ounce, all right, for free. That's just a gift. So you buy this from me and I'm gonna give you marijuana as a gift, all right? Virginia, this new law specifically states that cannot happen. You cannot gift marijuana in addition to selling someone a legal product. You can gift it up to 1 ounce, but you can't gift it as part of a sales transaction. You're going to get busted for distribution in Virginia. So Virginia's not playing that. I mean, DC, keep it going, but Virginia, the law specifically states that you cannot do that. Now, in addition to the new possession laws in Virginia, they also added an element to where you can actually grow up to 4 marijuana plants legally at your home. So the question is, a lot of people have this question. Well, if you can only possess up to an ounce legally, how is it that you can grow 4 plants? Because people say that 4 plants is going to be clearly more than an ounce. See, that's a gray area. That question really hasn't been answered yet. That's why they're going to have to move up this legal retail stuff, because you just can't. I don't know what they were doing, but four trees, like 4 plants, is going to produce more than 1 ounce at any given time. So I don't know if they're going to have to update that, or maybe they have. Maybe there's an amendment out there that there's an exception for the 4 plants. Maybe that doesn't apply to, your possession stuff. But it's something that people, they're wondering, am I going to be breaking the law by possessing more than 1 ounce of marijuana if I'm cultivating 4 plants? So that's something that we're going to have to stay tuned. And I'm going to actually give you all an update on that as soon as I know myself. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Those are the basic possession laws in the DMV area, the marijuana possession laws. These things are changing all over the United States. I mean, people across the United States, I hear this all the time. They're really envious of this area and other areas that have legalized marijuana, or at least decriminalized it up to a certain aspect. So listen, stay tuned. I got more videos coming out, more content coming out. Thanks for tuning in.